Why would you want to support a white racist?
Because I want to support free speech, and you cannot have free speech in a country.
No, that's fine. You can support free speech, but you also have to be accountable for what you say. Would you use the N-word out of interest?
Yes.
You would?
Hmm? I do, quite frequently.
You use the N-word quite frequently. Well, why? Other than the fact you're a despicable racist. Are you?
Some would say I am. White supremacist, I'm a neo-Nazi.
Well, if you use the N-word repeatedly, you are a racist then, are you?
Sure, I'll embrace that. If that means forwarding, helping white people achieve freedom of speech.
Girl, what? Excuse me? Oh, family, we've got a good one to get into. And oh my God, y'all, look at my homegirl over here on the right. She is so uncomfortable and they have her effed up. Do you hear me? Let's get into it.
It's not that I don't want you here.
It's different, really, to taking a view about either of the cases to simply say that the commonality is that they both, I think, have said in defending the amounts that have been raised is, well, we have to defend ourselves. Either, as you're putting it, through the courts, but also in his case, the alleged killer, that he has also, I think, had direct threats against him. And in the case of the mother using the N-word in that despicable manner, she has said she's had a lot of threats too.
My quick response to that would just be, let's assume everybody's telling the truth. Let's assume she's telling the truth, and let's assume he's telling the truth. If he's telling the truth and he was doing self-defense and he's getting harassed and doxxed, and of course we already know lies have been told about his GoFundMe campaign saying they were spending it on mansions and cars, all the kind of racist tropes. If that's true, he's being mistreated, and I think that's a sort of very easy case to make. When it comes to her, however, let's assume she's also telling the truth, that she used the word, she thinks the kid was acting like one, she feels like she has the right to use that word against that small baby because of whatever age-appropriate thing the kid did. If she's telling the truth and she's getting doxxed and harassed, I don't know if I want to reward her behavior with $500,000. I don't think she should be doxxed. I don't think she should be harassed. I think she has been mistreated to the extent that no one should be. You have a right to be racist. You have a right to free speech in this country. But I'm not donating money for it, and I feel a lot worse about her GoFundMe than the one for the person who's been railroaded.
Yeah. Well, Lily.
Okay, so essentially what they are talking about in this video, y'all, they are having dialogue about two recent events. One was that a young black kid stabbed a white kid to death on a sporting team. The parents, they made it their business to ask for it not to be turned into a racial thing. I'm not sure all the details on it, but a young man has lost his life. So with all that being said, this has sparked a lot of racial and political debates. The second story is about this white mother who had her child at a park, and there was a young black boy there around 5 years old, I believe 5 years old to be exact. And he was being a kid. Apparently he took a toy from the other kid, and the mother got upset. She became irate, and she called the young boy a nigger. Yeah, so that's the heaviness of the topics we are going to be getting into today. So if this is too much for you, go ahead and exit and just meet me on the next one, okay? I will not charge it to your heart, but I will charge it to the game. I get it. So yeah, y'all, let's go ahead and get into this foolery.
Gaddis, you posted a defense of Shiloh on X. It's been viewed 2.5 million times, in which it was entitled "White People Are Finally Fighting Back. Stand with Shiloh Hendricks." What did you mean by that?
That's the thing. White people have been under attack for years. It's been systematic racism. As much as black people and people of color want to talk about systematic
What? Yo, we are only 30 seconds in. What? What the hecky? What the helly? What are you talking about? What the hell are you on say? White people have... hold on, run that back, sis.
Look at 2016. White people have been under attack for years. It's been systematic racism. As much as black people and people of color want to talk about systematic racism in the United States.
Chow, you can't make this shit up with me. Where have you been under attack? Where have you been? When have you dealt with racism? Are you serious?
It's quite the opposite. They get preferential treatment when it comes to getting a job, when it comes to getting into colleges.
Y'all. This woman, this bitch is so stupid. I can't even get, like, every 5 seconds I have to stop it because she makes absolutely no fucking sense. We get preferential fucking what's the word, privilege? Girl, we don't have gated communities. Baby, we don't have Whole Foods. Baby, we don't own shit. We don't operate the mail-in services, the health services, the so on and so forth, the farming services, the agriculture, the science, the all this shit, all this capital. What's understood don't even need to be explained. Like I'm beating a dead horse, but you already know. Child, white folks own everything. White folks are the one that implemented the systemic racism that she's talking about her people that been through. What system went again? Come again? I'm waiting. I'm waiting on a response. I'm waiting for you to name off the systems that onboarded your oppression and your servitude to black people. I remember white people segregating from black people. I remember white people colonizing, enslaving. I remember eugenics. I mean, that's a system, right? It wasn't against you. It was for you. I'm trying to... 1 + 1 has been 2 since I learned 1 + 1 is 2. Why is it calculating to 6 right now? This is not making sense. The entitlement is asinine. This is absolutely disgusting. It's so disgusting that it's comical. Like, I genuinely for a second really thought that she was a paid actress because this shit is funny as fuck. It is so far from the truth. She is so far removed from reality that this shit is fucking comical. And then it's super disrespectful to this young black man that sits right here in the middle. Okay, and he handled this very fucking well. He was extremely articulate, and I love you, black brother. Now, I don't know about this brown man right next to him, okay? This is Uncle Tom, okay? This is the living, breathing Uncle Tom. Isn't this one of these red pill, blue pill, green pill dudes? Yeah, y'all, this... Let's get back into it, y'all. I am flabbergasted right now, like legitly flabbergasted. The fact that she said that she is tired of systemic racism against white people. How in the fuck is the black people gonna be systemically racist against your ass when we didn't even create the motherfucking systems to segregate your ass or oppress your ass? You sound motherfucking stupid.
White people, on the other hand, have been getting attacked relentlessly. Look at 2016.
This is how you know that this bitch is talking out the side of her neck and that she's just plain out racist. And what these people do is they use every excuse. They grab for straws. Child, straws is about 50 years old to try to grasp and stand on. She says white people have been under attack. Just look back at 2016, bitch. That was damn near 10 years ago. You're going to bring up something, and a valid point, by the way, of 2016. And 9 times out of 10, she's going to bring up George Floyd. They love using that George Floyd. And if you know what you know, we know about that George Floyd situation. We know, I'm going to say allegedly, what the media did to create that divide. So we're not even going to go there. Like oh my God. This is making me upset. This is pure hatred because most white people don't even live around black people. You all segregate yourself on purpose. You live in gated communities or you use the redlining system that has been implemented to assure that you are quote unquote safe and free of carbon. And you got your HOAs and stuff like that to protect you and to keep people of color, quote unquote, out. Let's not do this, little bitch. Let's not do this. Y'all be so worried about us. Y'all motherfuckers be the threat though. Clock it.
BLM and all the riots. We just had
No, don't say BLM. Say the name. Black Lives Matter. What was the reason that people were marching in the streets? Oh, and did you forget your white cops that were putting bricks and weapons in the middle of the roadways for these people to use to riot in these cities, in your cities? Y'all see the way she's talking? The separation in the way she's talking. Rioting and destroying our cities. Your city. And you're going to notice later, she refers to the United States as our country. The white folks' country. Not our country. Not the indigenous black natives of Turtle Island. It's your country. Oh, you got me fucked up. You got us fucked up. And we're not going. We are not going. Whatever propaganda is flying rampant right now for this divide, keep it coming. Keep it coming. Because at this point, I'm ready. Because clearly y'all are not ready for what this is going to bring. And black folks been waiting. We've been waiting. We've been waiting for the revolution. And this video screams volumes in regards to where we're at racially, what the temperature is due to the what? Systemic racial system that has been put against black people. Clock it. Fuck.
to sit back and watch people burn down our cities and do nothing about it. So the way to fight back against essentially this anti-white hatred that's been systemically, ingrained in U.S. society is with white unity. We don't see white unity on
Hang
our side.
on. Okay, but hang on. Sorry, just to be clear, this has got nothing to do with anything you've just said. This is a disgusting racist woman who repeatedly spews the M-word, first at a young child and then at the person taking the video of her, does it with complete impunity, does it numerous times. We are talking about a bona fide, unquestionable racist. And so I don't understand why what you've just said to me bears any relation to white unity or anything that you've just said. She's just a racist. End, isn't she? You wouldn't dispute that.
It's not about her. It's not about her. It's about
Well, it is about
people
her.
coming together and supporting another white person. And it doesn't matter.
Why would you want to support a white racist?
Because I want to support free speech, and you cannot have free speech in a country.
No, that's fine. You can support free speech, but you also have to be accountable for what you say.
Exactly. And there is a complete lack of accountability for all white people. In the moment where they feel like they're being held accountable in any kind of way, here's when all the excuses come up. And we can name them off because we've heard them before. So I don't have to do it. This is how it goes every single fucking time. And I must say for piers to be, calling her out on her racism, that says a lot, because we know this man racist too, child. We know that his love is conditional for black people too, child. That's how I feel. And it sucks, but it's the truth. The majority of white people's love for black people is conditional. Or their care and liking for black people is conditional. Yeah, I like you as long as you don't live by me. Yeah, I can like you as long as you don't date anyone in my family. Yeah, I can like you or love you as long as you're not in close proximity. Yeah, I love you and like you for your music. That's it, that's all. The love is conditional. And it's been systemically made that way.
Would you use the N-word out of interest?
Yes.
You would?
I do quite frequently.
You use...
She uses the N-word quite frequently. Like just, normal day. Niggers, niggers, niggers,
the N-word quite frequently. Well, why? Other than the fact you're a despicable racist. Are you?
Some would say I am. I guess according to the ADL, I'm a white supremacist. I'm a neo-Nazi.
If you use the N-word repeatedly, you are a racist, then, are you?
Sure, I'll embrace that. If that means forwarding, helping white people achieve freedom of speech, real freedom of speech, which, by the way, Shiloh Hendricks is being attacked on all fronts. They're trying to bring legal charges against her. They're trying to get her children taken away. So you were saying Carmelo Anthony, it doesn't matter. That's a different.
Sorry, but just to be
thing.
clear, you just said to me you use the N-word regularly. In what context? Do you use it with black people?
Hell no.
Yes, if it's appropriate.
When would it be appropriate to use the N-word?
People.
When would it be appropriate?
Anytime I feel like it.
Of course.
So you're an unashamed racist.
Correct.
Well, do you understand that makes you a despicable human being?
I guess so. I don't really care. Why are we not talking about Shiloh Hendricks? Why are we talking about?
Well, actually, I think you've moved it on in this debate very quickly to your own racism, which explains why you've supported her in public and why you've got all these views. You see no problem with a woman shrieking the N-word repeatedly because you yourself are a despicable racist, and you've just proudly admitted that with a smug grin on your face, which is pretty horrifying, actually, for most people to have to watch. And shame on you. You're entitled to do it, and I'm entitled to call you despicable.
Well, shame on white people for allowing themselves to be systematically discriminated against in the United States. This is our country. This is a country that should be.
What do you mean your country?
Because I'm white and my
What, there are no black people in America?
I wish that he hadn't cut her off. Because she was saying, because I'm white and my ancestors, what did your ancestors do? Because I know you weren't going to say they were born here. I know that's what you weren't going to say. I know for a fact that's not what you were going to say. She genuinely feels like this is her country. So what do you think people that think like her and look like her, and please listen to my words, people that think like her and look like her feel? They think that melanated people are subservient to them. This is macro aggression, okay? But we see it in micro form every single day. And this topic of discussion of black fatigue is really big on TikTok right now too. And some white people on TikTok have used that word for themselves. So black fatigue ultimately means the everyday struggle of being a black American, the insecurities that we feel, the micro and macro racial aggressions that we feel, all the segregation and things that are against us. This country is literally built against us in every single way, and I literally mean that. Excuse me, in every single way. TikTok has created a space to where Black people feel comfortable to go on and talk about, their everyday experiences and how they feel against, or how their white counterparts have made them feel, And so now white people are turning the word Black fatigue around and using it for themselves and saying, well, I have Black fatigue too. When Black people walk down the road or down the street, I cross the street because I have Black fatigue. I fear that they're going to do X, Y, and Z. So you kind of get it. They flipped the script on us. So now we are in a point in history once again where racial tension is at an all-time high, and social media is giving everyone from every background an outlet to speak on how they feel. And the truth hurts. I feel like a lot of us have been running from the truth for a long time, or we like to suppress it because we don't want to deal with it. But it's here front and center, and I think that it's time for us to accept how a lot of people feel. How a lot of people on that side, if you feel me, how they feel. And another point I want to make up, and I talked to one of my good friends about this the other day, and she's white, and we were talking about how it sucks to be a white woman or man that are for unity, that are for the people that love Black culture, that love Black people, and that hate the systemic racism and everything that has been put against our people. And, they're for the people. They're regularly operating humans. They don't think that racism is a good thing. I feel bad for them because, God damn, some of them are raising these fucking families that are so evil-minded when it comes to people that don't look like them. And just imagine growing up and being a white boy or girl in a racist household. Like, damn, I can only imagine how that feels. So I have compassion for my white allies, for my white friends and family out there that do not think that racism is cool, that do not feel like they are superior than any other being in any form. That was a mouthful. Let's get back to the video, y'all. I have a lot to say on this one, y'all. So look, the commentary is through the roof this time, okay? I appreciate y'all if y'all are still hanging in here with me. Please like the video, subscribe if you have not already, and leave a comment down below. I would love to hear how you feel about this situation as well.
History, is that what you're saying? That they've all just landed in America, invading your white country? Is that your position?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they were brought here technically.
My God, do you understand how dumb you sound?
This is stupid. This is stupid and racist. And at some point, we have to ask ourselves, do we want to reward this kind of disgusting behavior by platforming it?
I don't disagree, Mark. Listen, I didn't know she was going to say that. I don't disagree with you.
No. Yeah.
Uncle Tom, what are you over there laughing about? What is funny?
No, technically, Africans were stolen, enslaved, and they built this country. And the idea that you can justify calling a baby the N-word by saying that white people are losing the country is absurd. It's morally bankrupt, and it's honestly besides the point. I mean, all these are just distractions from the fact that she wants to justify dehumanizing and even animalizing a small Black child. It's disgusting.
What is it?
Yeah, I never said that.
No, you may as well have done, because you're just an unashamed,
that's the implication of your
racist. Let me bring in Myron Gaines, because you've been smirking and laughing. What's funny about any of this?
Well, I mean, I find it interesting that you guys want to virtue signal and wag the finger and say she's a racist and everything else like this.
No, she admitted she's a racist.
Well, let me
I'm not wagging a finger at anybody.
She's self-identified as a racist.
But Myron, with respect, Myron, I don't need to wag a finger when somebody says, yeah, I'm racist, I use the N-word against Black people, I don't care. That's a racist. I'm not wagging any finger. I'm not accusing anybody. She is admitting it proudly. Even you can't defend that, surely.
Everybody is racist to some degree.
Boy, shut the hell up. You sound stupid. See, I don't think let's pull up the definition of racism, because I ain't got time. Google says racism is prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism by an individual, community, or institution against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. The belief is that different races possess distinct characteristics, abilities, or qualities, especially so as to distinguish them as inferior or superior to one another. The only group of people that benefit from racism is white people. So you know naturally that they implemented that system. Before colonization, there was no racism, y'all. None. We did not think that way. We opened ourselves up to everyone. Every single group of people opened themselves up to anyone. We traded and bartered with one another. We loved on one another. We had festivals and different spiritual, connections with one another. We had respect, not only for ourselves, but for one another. Colonization is the system that put racism into play. And racism is a mindset that is taught from birth. Black people are not taught to be racist. We are taught to survive in America, Black Americans specifically. We are loving. We are kind. We open our arms up to any race of people. People feel loved by us. It's only races that are spewing this negative rhetoric. I'm sick of this shit. This is absolutely disgusting. So, with all that being said, since this group of people came over and colonized and marginalized, now hundreds and hundreds of years later, of course they think that this is their shit because they invaded and they conquered, killed, stealed, and destroyed to get their way to the top. So now they feel like they have ownership. So if they own the land, don't they own the natural people in the land too? Wake it up.
Reality is, it depends on, a lot of people want to be politically correct. A lot of people want to sit there and say, I'm not racist at all. We all have biases. We all have stereotypes. We all make jokes. We all are racist to some degree. Now, how racist you are is a whole other situation, but everyone is racist. That's number one. Next thing I want to say, see, I think this Shiloh, Hendricks, and Metcalf situation is a microcosm of a much bigger problem. And that bigger problem is what I call systemic organization. And what I mean by this is, for decades, we've had Black people literally running around with Black supremacy, committing crimes, not getting accountability for their actions, and then they blame the system for it. For example, George Floyd, criminal. Ferguson, criminals. Freddie Gray, criminal. A lot of these people are criminals, and what ends up happening is they challenge the police officer, they get into a physical altercation, things go left, they die, something happens, use of force is utilized, and then they want to cry about the result, when in reality, it's not the police killing Black people, it's Black people killing Black people. And if you want to talk about Black on white violence, Black people kill white people 2 times as much. And on top of that, most of the shootings in America, a lot of the times, are white cops killing other unarmed white men. So this whole systemic racism or police brutality, or, oh, it's all so messed up, the reality is this. Black people have been able to get away with a ridiculous amount of privilege in America for a very long time. They're able to be racist with impunity. They're able to call white people crackers without being challenged back. And quite frankly, white America's had enough of it, and the chickens have come to roost. Now, look, am I saying that's awesome? Am I saying that's great? No, but for literally the better part of almost 2 decades since the Obama era, we've had to have BLM and liberalism shoved down our throats, and quite frankly, we're all tired of it.
Right, but just to be clear, you would have no problem with one member of this panel openly saying she uses the N-word at Black people with impunity and is proud of being a racist. You have no problem with that?
My worldview on the protection of the First Amendment and freedom of speech overrides my personal feelings. She has the right to say
That's
it.
fine.
and I'll
You can support the First Amendment, but you can also have a personal view about what she said.
my feelings are irrelevant. The Constitution is the Constitution. That's what matters.
Oh, that's
And
fascinating. Hold on. So when it comes to chastising Black Americans about their behavior, about calling white people crackers, as you say, about their moral claims about the racist system, you can levy a judgment against Black Americans for all the things they do. But when it comes to this woman saying the N-word, and this other woman endorsing it and saying that she herself uses the N-word, now all of a sudden we can only talk about the Constitution and the legal right. We can't offer any moral judgment against it. That's disingenuous. And it's as the only Black American up here, that's quite frustrating to hear.
Here's the thing. If you want to be soft and get offended by that, that's your fucking problem, not mine.
Let me ask Ricky.
We're not even.
Let me ask Ricky. Ricky,
this isn't about being soft any more than when you were desperately saving these white people.
Hold on. This sensitive nature that you have is precisely why we have this problem.
It's not about being sensitive. It's about I didn't articulate. Hold on. Let me finish, Myron. Let me speak and then I'll let you respond. Myron, sure. I didn't articulate any sensitivity here. What I said, in the same way that you levied a judgment against Black people, I'm levying one against the claims you're making. I'm no more sensitive than you were when you made your claim. I'm simply saying I disagree with you. And to immediately jump to you're being sensitive is just a distraction. I'm making an argument here.
My argument to respond to that is this. Political correctness, liberalism, and making sure that we are politically correct and don't use certain words could offend people is precisely why we're in the situation that we're in. For decades, we've had to literally tiptoe around saying certain things around certain people, while the other group of people has been able to have impunity and be able to be as racist as they want to be, as violent as they want to be, without any type of consequence. And if you call it out, you're labeled a racist. The reality is this. Black people don't want to live around Black people. I don't want to live around a bunch of Black people. I move to neighborhoods where it's majority white because I know I'm safe. Now, this is uncomfortable reality that no one wants to say, so I'll say it for them. Black people commit a lot of crimes. A majority of the violent crime committed in the United States is committed by a small percentage of people, and they tend to be Black men. Look, the reality is the reality. People don't want to say it, but the political correctness and being nice and not wanting to tell the truth is precisely this problem. And the reason why you're seeing all the support for Metcalf and Shiloh, etc., is because white people have not been able to step up and say what they want to say for a very long time.
Family, leave a comment down below. What do you think about what he is saying? Don't be scared. Be raw. Be yourself. Let me know what you think about. Y'all, I cannot talk. This shit got me on fire. Do you hear me? Let me know how y'all feel about this debate down below. I really feel like this video is intense. Man, this brings up a lot of topics of discussion, and I really want to pick y'all brain on this. So let me know what you think.
Because of what I said before, systemic, organized, where they don't take accountability for their
All right,
decisions.
let me bring in Ricky to respond. Ricky.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to say that I agree that virtue signaling went too far, that political correctness went too far, but we're going from virtue signaling being the norm and being praised to now vice signaling being the norm and being praised. It's not just a matter of does this woman have the right to use that word? I believe that she has the right. I disagree with it. But is she now being rewarded with $500,000? Why are we rewarding people for performing vice instead of virtue? This is not healthy. This is destructive to our society. This is destructive to our social fabric, to our culture, to our ability to live with other fellow Americans. It's gross to reward someone for bad behavior. It's one thing to tolerate it, to say that she has the right to do it, but she called an autistic 5-year-old the N-word. Like, I'm sorry, but I feel like we're kind of like missing the point in the actual context. You can say that it's part of this bigger meta story of Black and white America, but it actually is just like a short little clip, and you don't even know the context of it, and it's actually gross, and if we can't just say that it's gross and bad, then I don't really know where we are.
Well, I think
And people have raised over $1 million to support this woman. $1 million. Imagine how many different households contributed. Now think about how many people around you contributed. And think the same way. Think that it's okay to conduct themselves like that, to speak like that. But although it hurts, although it's sad, at the same time, I want more of it. Weirdly, I respect it. Be outward with your shit. Let me know where I need to be, who I need to be around, who's for me, who's not. Let me know. You know? Like, no more hiding the shit. If you don't fuck with me, let me know. If I walk in your store and you don't want my service, or sorry, you don't want me to patronize your place, please let me know. Please hang your signs. Like, because that's where we're at. That's where we're at. And I hate to change the subject, but just real quickly, we're in a recession. We're in a depression. And I feel like it's being clouded with all this race shit, when we really need to be worried about the real shit. The fact that you wake up with a disdain against someone for the amount of melanin that they have naturally in their skin is fucking sick. It's a sickness. And I feel like people that think like that should be wiped out. Period. Just like these gang members, these YNs, wipe them out. Just like the hillbilly racists, wipe them out. The KKK, wipe them out. All these negative entities that live within every single community that is a detriment and a poison to the American people as a whole, get them the fuck out. Because if there's no more racists, no more bigots, no more all these negative people, we could just, jump in a circle and be happy, right? Wishful thinking.
I mean, it's interesting to me that Lily Gaddis, you retweeted Nick Fuentes, the white supremacist, by saying he said black people just raised $500,000 for a cold-blooded killer who stabbed a white teenager to death. So I don't want to hear one word about the Shiloh Hendricks fundraiser. Either everyone gets to be tribal or nobody does. Why would you retweet that?
Because I agree with it. Because we have to fight fire with fire. I mean, at some point, why are
nobody does?
Why are Jewish people allowed to be tribal? Why are black people allowed to be tribal? But as soon as white people stand up for themselves, we're labeled a racist. And by the way, you call people racist when you want them to stop talking about things.
No, I called you a racist because you admitted you were racist. Hang on. I called, just to be clear, I called you a racist because you openly, proudly admitted you're a racist. So it wasn't a question of exposing you or pointing my finger or trying to get this out of you. You proudly sat there, bold as brass, and said, yeah, I use the N-word all the time against black people. I'm a racist and I'm proud of it. That's what you did.
Racism is just having a preference. I prefer not to live around black people. I prefer not to live in a country where white people in our country.
So racism is preference now. This shit is not real. No. Like what are what are you even talking about? Baby.
Are disproportionately attacked by black people. Where in my country, you can have an Austin Metcalf where he asks a guy to leave and he gets stabbed in the heart. I prefer that. That's a preference. Now, what a real racist is, in my opinion, is seeing someone as less human. I'm a Christian. I believe everyone's created in God's image. So I don't see anyone as less human. But that doesn't mean I'm not allowed to have a preference and say, I don't like what happens to be coming out of this community or that community. How is that a bad thing? How is that not just a preference?
Because you've literally made black people sound lesser humans. You don't want to live around them. You want to use the N-word in relation to them, a word that causes that community unbelievable offense.
Is that my fault? Is that my fault? If they have bad behavior, if they want to act in a certain way, if I have to cross the street and be afraid that maybe because of the crime statistics that are very real, by the way, is that my fault or is that their fault for having bad behavior?
That's mind-boggling to me for multiple reasons. I mean, we're talking about bad behavior. We've never lynched you, we've never enslaved you, we've never done any of the deep-seated structural forms of injustice to white people that white people have done to black people, and yet to claim some kind of moral superiority in the midst of, and again, in the context of a conversation where a white woman is calling a 5-year-old autistic child the N-word, and we're talking about black people's bad behavior. This is absurd. And the idea of fighting fire with fire, again, is a dishonest argument. Just to take us back to the point here, The people who are supporting Carmelo Anthony's campaign believe that he was wrongfully charged and they're trying to get him legal defense. The people who are defending this woman are saying, yes, we know you called the 5-year-old autistic black child the N-word, and we want more of it. We approve of it. We support it. These are not the same thing. And it's bonkers to me that we couldn't all stand and say, hey, it is wrong to call a 5-year-old autistic black child the N-word. I mean, Myron, let me just ask you that question. I think this is a yes or no question. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you think the woman was wrong to do what she did to that child in that park?
I don't approve of that. But what I will say is that it's very important to understand the entire context of what led us to this position. Because again, Metcalf and Hendricks is a microcosm of a much larger problem. Earlier, we were talking about tribalism when you were mentioning Nick Fuentes' tweet. Here's the thing. Black people could be as tribal as they want to be. You have people like Tariq Nasheed, Dr. Umar Johnson running around about black power and marry black women and keep it in the hood and all this other stuff. But if white people assemble and say, you know what, white power, we need to keep our nation white, they're immediately ostracized and labeled as supremacists, and they get banned off every single platform. I find that interesting. And matter of fact, you went ahead
Isn't that
and
the same thing?
No, actually, it is the same thing. Because here's the problem with black people.
No,
You
it's
guys
not.
hold on, let me finish this. Black people practice the very racism they cry about. You guys can gather together and say Black Lives Matter, Black Power, but if white people get together and say white power and gather together, they're considered white supremacists and they get banned off every single platform. Why is that Jared Taylor and Nick Fuentes are banned off every platform for practicing white nationalism, but black people are allowed to stand every single platform getting interviews on the Breakfast Club? Explain that to me. There's a two-tier situation here where black people are able to benefit off of being racist while whites are not. And what we're dealing with right now in America is literally a backlash to this black supremacy has been able to run around unchecked for a long time, and no one has the balls to call it out. Here's the other thing I want to say. Everyone's flipping out over Shiloh Hendricks is saying the N-word.
Can I respond to the point you just made, though?
No, hold on. Nobody flipped out like this when the United States was getting destroyed in 2020 because of black protests destroying every liberal city in America. So I don't want to hear it about, she made $100,000 because she said the N-word. Who cares? They destroyed billions of dollars of structure because someone got killed who was a criminal. That's the problem in America. You guys get a privilege that no one else gets to enjoy.